Hello, Trekkies! Today's block contains a bunch of trauma bonding, trust exercises, and trials as we continue down the road of ranking every live-action episode in the Star Trek franchise. This is Best of Trek, Worst of Trek. I'm your host, Dustin Wing. Debating the meaning of sentience at 159, Skin Deep, or the quality of life. If you thought we were done with the rights of synthetic life back in Season 2 of TNG, then you'd be wrong. This episode, that will later spawn everybody's favorite character in Lower Decks, Peanut Hamper, teaches us that every random pad could be a sentient beast if we just learn to listen to it. While checking on the progress of a new Federation mining technology known as a particle fountain, the Enterprise crew is introduced to the Jack-of-all-trades exocomp, as the project has hit a series of setbacks that culminates in the project basically imploding and trapping Picard and Geordi in a radiation nightmare, with only the exocomps to possibly give them a chance at escape. Except that Data has found they might be sentient and shouldn't be expected to be sacrificed for the lives of humanoids. Though in the end, they do consent, and this is a great thought experiment as the world around us evolves more AI tech. At what point do we owe our creation something? An extremely Star Trek message here. Saving the planet at 158, sacrifice is never enough. Or 0 Hour. Finally, we've come to the end of Enterprise's Xindi arc, and it's a doozy for one of Trek's best overall seasons. The Sphere Builders, with their vision of alternate futures, accelerate their plans to enter our universe to try and stop Enterprise from taking down their key transformation sphere. Archer and a very mentally damaged Hoshi travel with their aligned Xindi friends towards Earth to stop the Reptilians from unilaterally deploying their world-ending weapon. After some epic hand-to-hand combat, Archer does manage to stop the weapon with some help from Shran, but seemingly gives up his life. Meanwhile, Enterprise, still in the Expanse, takes a little overdose of radiation to put the Sphere Builders' plans to rest for good. There's a great meeting in the middle of this one between Archer and Daniels, as he's shown his destiny to help drive the signing of the Federation Charter. When Archer's trying to escape the sphere, there's some very over-the-top pyrotechnics, but not the weirdest thing in the episode. That comes at the very end when Archer wakes up in the 40s in an America under Nazi control, but that's a mystery for another season. One of Trek's most action-oriented episodes that doesn't quit putting it right in your face till the very end. Going up at 157, The Odd Couple, or The Ascent. In two parallel plots, two sets of main characters learn to live with each other. As Nog comes home for his first Academy posting, he's paired with Jake in their own quarters together. I mean, what could go wrong? Odo thinks he's finally going to watch Quark get what's coming to him as he transports him to a grand jury proceeding. Along the way, though, the Orion Syndicate has sabotaged their runabout, and they end up with few supplies, marooned on a barely habitable planet. It gives the two frenemies their own episode-long interaction, even though their on-screen chemistry had been through the roof since the show's beginning. Climbing a mountain with no supplies to try and get a comm signal out proves harder to deal with the company than the climb itself. After nearly killing each other, the two end up with a better respect. Back on the station, Nog's Starfleet training puts him at odds with his best friend, the slob who sleeps in. It's a pretty standard coming-of-age and learning to deal with the people you live with story, and both of these plots are done on an extremely high level. There really needed to be more Quark and Odo episodes in the run of DS9. Experiencing tragedy at 156? Remember war crimes? Or Memorial. This episode is both terrifying and perfectly Star Trek, as four main cast members come back from a weeks-long planetary survey and dilithium gathering mission. It appears everything's good at first until a thoughtful gift of a TV by B'Elanna to Tom turns from cartoons and commercials to war crimes and Tom himself in the narrative. This plays out in different ways for the different members of that particular away mission, including Neelix taking Naomi hostage to protect her from the fighting, until Chakotay again proves he's actually Voyager's counselor, talking people down from self-destruction. They all think they were part of some kind of war crime that got covered up, but when Voyager investigates, what they find is a mental transmitter broadcasting a past tragedy so that others might avoid it. A classic moral gray area is touched on, and in true Janeway fashion, she decides to repair and repower the transmitter on this now dead world. There's just something about watching Harry Kim and others suffer the atrocities of war that kicks this middling plot up to the next level. Telling a tall tale at 155, OG First Contact, or Carbon Creek. Somehow this one takes the plot of 1159 and the Coneheads, smashes them together, and makes something wonderfully Trek. Over dinner, T'Pol tells the tale of the original First Contact, and it wasn't in Montana, but Carbon Creek, Pennsylvania, as her ancestor and two others crashed nearby in the 50s. It's a pretty simple story of blending into human society, waiting for rescue, and in the end, one of the Vulcans purposely remains behind. The way it's told, though, is a perfect blend of classic sci-fi, 50s nostalgia, and a sprinkle of Trek to keep it canonical. What gets really interesting, though, are the meta implications this episode sets up. For instance, I Love Lucy becomes canon in Trek. You know, the godmother of Trek? Also, Trip mentions old episodes of The Twilight Zone, which guest starred nearly every main cast member of TOS. So the fact that William Shatner as an actor is canon in a universe with a character played by William Shatner seems like one of those universe-ending paradoxes Q warned Picard about. In all seriousness, this one is one of the best Trek episodes that anyone, not just a Trek fan, will probably enjoy. Running silent at 154, The Hunt for Gem October. Or Starship Down. The Defiant becomes the set of a submarine-style classic game of tactics between them and the Jem'Hadar after they retaliate on the Karma and force all ships involved into the atmosphere of a gas giant. The Cisco is injured during the battle, and from here on out, the story is told in pairs. And different people are sealed into different parts of the ship for different reasons together, just trying to outsmart the Dominion and rescue the Karma ship. It becomes a tale of desperate camaraderie that pays off, even literally for Quark as he turns amazing recurring actor James Cromwell's character from foe to financial friend after disarming a torpedo together. Still questioning how Jadzia and Julian survived this one, but plot armor prevails for all in the end, and everyone's presumably quite a bit wiser for it. Fighting for a common cause at 153. Gateway of Trust. Or To the Death. Despite much fiercer battles being fought at DS9, the Defiant returns home to find an entire upper pylon detached and obliterated. Ben nopes right the hell out of there, leaving Kira with the relief effort as he pursues the single Jem'Hadar strike force that did this. Along the way, he meets the first incarnation of his soon-to-be nemesis, Weyoun. Apparently, the Jem'Hadar that attacked the station are rogues, and this unit is after them also, but in a currently disabled ship. The two crews work together to secure an Iconian gateway, and all it takes is a little bloody hand-to-hand combat that ends in the death of this Weyoun clone. It's a perfectly Starfleet message to work together with an enemy towards common goals. Seeing it all at 152? Ancient Knowledge. Or Rapture. In one of the Cisco's first real trials of the emissary, he uses an ancient painting to triangulate the position of a famed city, now lost to the layers of Bajor. It comes also in the form of spiritual knowledge that Kira interrupts him from on the holodeck. He claims to see the coming war, and by the end, a vision of locusts consuming Bajor. This is all during the final ceremony to bring Bajor into the Federation, but after all the emissary has proven, Bajor defers for the time being, in hopes of being spared when the Dominion really decides to get frisky in the Alpha Quadrant. This important moment in the path of the Cisco earns top merits for a merging of faith and galactic reality.
Ah, computer.
That program is available.
Thanks, Major. Thanks, Major.
The command pathways are functioning normally.
Thanks, Major.
Time expired.
Major.